treating this as a catastrophic scene in there right now. So we're trying our best to navigate through every single floor. We're having some difficulties getting through some locked doors, but we're locking floor by floor down, and we're bringing more and more officers in here so we can safely clear the entire building.
Tulsa police describing a catastrophic scene inside St. Francis Hospital yesterday where that gunman again killed 4 people and himself. He was looking to obviously harm the doctor, and that's coming after the police found that letter which indicated his intent to kill that doctor who reportedly he had back surgery with just weeks ago on May the 19th. And the Tulsa shooting investigation, not even 24 hours old, but already the left is piling on and attacking Republicans on their security-based solutions for gun violence without even mentioning really who's to blame for the deaths at the medical building at that hospital campus in Tulsa. I want to show you some of the tweets here. This coming in from Frank Figaluzzi. I'm sure it's another door problem, not a gun problem. He's the former FBI Assistant Director of Counterterrorism, and he shared that while tweeting an article about the hospital shooting in Tulsa yesterday. And then Russell Foster, a Democrat and former Texas congressional candidate, is out here tweeting, is Ted Cruz and the GOP going to tell us we have too many doors in hospitals after this Tulsa mass shooting? The hospital I worked for 12 years only had 3 public entrances, and 2 of them closed after visiting hours.
All right, let's welcome in host of Stinchfield here on Newsmax TV. Catch him every night, Monday through Friday. Grant Stinchfield. Grant, great to have you with us.
Well, it's great to be with you guys.
Well, you know, this is expected now. Every time we see one of these mass shootings, before the bodies are cold, you have Democrats hitting Republicans for their attempt to focus on security and safety. And Grant, you know this as well as anybody. If you really want to make these places safer, the most immediate thing you can do is up the security there. Closing doors, making sure things are locked, making sure these entrances are hardened, having more armed guards on the scene, whether it's a hospital or at a school. But Democrats don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. I wonder if this hospital was a gun-free zone with signs outside posted saying no guns allowed here. Now, it is in Oklahoma. It may not have been a gun-free zone. I only wish a good guy with a gun would have been closer to stop this when it unfolds. That's the only way you stop evil when it comes calling, is match the force. And if evil comes calling with a gun, then you better have a gun to match that force to stop it in its tracks. No new law would have prevented any of these mass shootings. So now you see the left. Did you see the top of your graphic you had put up there before on the Democrats that want to institute more gun control, and they're trying to ram this through now? Raising the age from 18 to 21 years old. This is how dumb the Democrats are in Washington. Less than 2 weeks ago, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, a massively liberal court, ruled that California's law of raising the age from 18 to 21 severely infringes, that's a quote, severely infringes on the Second Amendment, and they tossed it. See, I've got the Constitution right here, and it says the Second Amendment is very simple. A well-regulated militia necessary to a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's written right here. It's about the most simple amendment in here. The right of the people to keep and bear arms doesn't mean, well, only if you're over 21. Right. I mean, at 18 years old, you pick up arms to go fight for our nation. You don't have special classes that get to exercise all of these rights in here. Could you imagine? We're on TV. Could you imagine if the government came to us and said we need to take a test before we exercise our First Amendment right? Or God forbid, you live in Los Angeles. And the city says, you know what, the Fourth Amendment, to protect you from illegal search and seizure, you got to pay a fee. And if you didn't pay the fee when the cops show up, they could just search your house.
Submit your fingerprints for a background check to make sure you have access to the Fourth Amendment.
You know, Grant, it makes a great soundbite for corporate media. And, you know, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, you know, obviously, you know, of course, we know he might have his sights on 2024. Let's play a soundbite of what he's talking, exactly what you're saying, raising the age limit.
Well, first of all, I think you've got to be able to talk about the AR-15 style weapons and whether that's an 18 or 21 age. You have to at least have a conversation about that. That's tough because the challenge with the gun safety discussion is what makes a difference.
Right. And we also heard, Grant, from Florida Senator Rick Scott. Of course, he was governor when Parkland happened, and he told a radio host that, and I said, I'm not going to take away their rights to own a gun and have a gun, but you cannot buy it by yourself. You have to be with your parents. You cannot buy it until you're 21. You cannot buy it by yourself. We had Texas Congressman Pete Sessions right here telling John and I yesterday he's on board with a similar idea. But the fact is, doesn't seem like that would have prevented anything that we saw in Uvalde, in Buffalo, or Tulsa.
It wouldn't have prevented anything because these evil killers, they either steal their guns, they take them from their parents. If they don't want to use a gun, they'll drive a car through a Christmas parade. I'm going to issue a warning right now to Rick Scott and Pete Sessions and Asa Hutchins that you do not make special classes for our rights. If you go down this road of gun control, I'm telling you right now, we're going to lose all the momentum we have. The people in the middle portions of the country, the most important Americans right now, real good conservatives who want to see this nation go in the right direction, not the wrong direction where it's headed, we have motivation to get out there and vote for Republicans. You go down this road of gun control, you're going to take all the motivation away. I promise you. You're going to flip this now from having an advantage for Republicans in November to no advantage. And Bianca, let me ask you this, and John, what about the 20-year-old woman, domestic abuse survivor, that wants to keep a gun in her house?
What about that woman in Charleston, South Carolina, who shot the guy with the AR-15? She prevented a mass shooting there. What about those folks, Grant? These are the people who often step in when police can't get there in time. This is what you talk about all the time, and I know this. We really appreciate your passion on this issue.
We give up our guns. The criminals have them, and we have zero defense. But I wanted to talk to you because you just mentioned Waukesha, and we're not seeing anyone sue the car maker that Darrell Brooks was driving. Yet in April we had that subway shooting, Grant, in New York City, and a woman is suing Glock, saying that the gun manufacturer contributed to her physical and emotional damage from the attack. So again, more strategy of the left, blame the gun, not the person. It just seems that this is something, as you mentioned, midterms are coming. We know they're clinging to this. There are reports now that Biden will be addressing the nation tonight, having a discussion about guns. We cannot avoid this as midterms approach, and it is such a political issue.
No. Liberals always want to shirk responsibility to something else. It's never anybody's fault. And just as you mentioned, the car example is a great example. I use it all the time. If you're a drunk driver, you don't sue Ford because you were driving an F-150. You sue the drunk driver who killed your loved one. Look, people need to start taking responsibility for their actions. And this whole idea of Democrats allowing victims of crime to sue gun manufacturers, they don't care about the victims of crime. All they care about are putting these gun manufacturers out of business. That's what they want. I am so grateful that I live in a state like Texas where I can keep and bear arms. We have constitutional carry here. My permit to carry in public is right here. It's the Constitution of the United States. 25 states now have that right. That's the America I know and love, and it is the America I'm going to keep fighting for.
A lot of people say, Grant, it's the one thing that Texas has that Florida doesn't, that constitutional carry option. If you want to carry in Florida, you got to submit your fingerprints to the FBI and to a lot of other states as well. A lot of hoops that legal gun owners are willing to jump through, but these criminals clearly don't want to. One more thing to talk to you about, Grant, while we have you here. The Marine Corps joining the folks celebrating Pride Month this week. They sent out this tweet here with the rainbow bullets. We talked to Carl Higbee about this earlier. The Born to Kill graphic there, replacing the helmet with Born to Serve. A hat tip to a Full Metal Jacket there. But, what does this tell you about the direction of the U.S. military right now?
Do you think that China and Russia are absolutely laughing at us right now?
I do.
Rainbow bullets? We have enemies that will think nothing about killing us, dropping a bomb on us, doing whatever they can to take out American soldiers and Marines. And we're putting rainbow bullets up there as if it's some kind of a game for kindergartners. This is nonsensical. And we can laugh about the rainbow bullets, but I really don't think there's anything funny about this.
No.
Because the American military is the greatest fighting machine that this nation has ever seen, that this world has ever seen. Don't disparage it by playing political games like this. We are an awesome fighting force. We're the greatest one on earth. I still believe it. Apparently, though, the commander-in-chief doesn't. That's the shame of the reality of things right now.
Well, we saw the 60-day stand down when Biden first took office in the military, the distraction, the focus on white rage by General Milley, and then we saw those 13 Marines die in Afghanistan. They got to keep their eye on the ball, focus on the main thing, and that is their military responsibilities, not this woke crap we see so much of. Grant, great to see you. We'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. Looking forward to it as always.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Grant.